Hello and welcome to Reef Girls Reef Wrap-Up number 14. Oh yeah, it has been a while since my last update. What I'm showing you here is my Mosellia latistulata. This is in the frag tank and it has been doing amazingly well. I've learned a lot about what makes this thing happy in terms of light and flow. So when I move it to the large tank, I'm going to try and match those conditions. In the display tank, this has been going on. These conch snails are doing an amazing job at working away at the CYANO, but they couldn't quite keep up. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And hey, what tank would be complete without a super high-tech ATO? Yeah, bucket of RODI water and a 2-liter jug. I use this to top it up several times throughout the day. Here's the line on the glass that shows the proper water level to maintain the correct salinity. Looking for some coral ID help. I found this growing right beside my Season's Greetings Montipora. I thought it was an area of particularly dense red polyps, and then I took a closer look. Okay, this is what it looks like in white light. I have no filter on it right now. And the polyps are coming out again. So not all the polyps have come out yet, but this is what they look like. And since I turned up the lights in here, this thing, it has really started to grow. Surprise, surprise, now that it has some light. And finally these things are starting to grow. This piece of rock, it's a Tonga branch, it's an arch shape. Utter chaos all through here. And then these citrus rhodactis mushrooms have just gone crazy. Let's see how big the fox coral is. It's massive. Okay, it's 9:30 on a Thursday night and I saw my urchin. So we are going to do something about the chaetomorpha. We have been meaning to clean it for a long time, and I say we because of course my husband's gonna help me. It's getting pretty bad with crud in it. There he is. Right there. I got very concerned that he would be buried in the masses of chaeto we got over here, and I would hurt him, expose him to the air, whatever. I really didn't want to lose this little creature. I've had him for quite a while. We're going to stop the flow in here and we're going to remove the chaeto so that we can rinse it and clean it and put it back in here in those baskets. So I pulled out all of the chaeto and look at this. This started as a fist size a year ago and it is dense, it is dark green. It's just super vigorous. There's a lot of it. I'm gonna try and keep as much of it as I can, but it has to be rinsed because it's full of cruddy cyano and brown slime and who knows what else. And then up here, where that just came from, all the flow is off, and I just stirred it up, getting the chaeto out of there, and the water's really murky. Plus, the inside of the trash can overflow, it has brown stuff in the bottom again. While we're doing this, we're going to siphon it out using my Hygger aquarium vac, and then we're also going to siphon out the water that's up here and then replace it again with fresh salt water so that we can start the system running again without putting all that stirred up mud into the rest of the system. You can see I've taken out the egg crate and this is what's in here. It shouldn't take too much to suck all that out, then replace the water. So this is a two-man job, so I won't be able to film it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so here's how it looks after getting maybe 8 gallons out. Not bad. It's about half down. The urchin is underwater over here somewhere. Oh, I can see some chaeto I gotta pull out. And here's the bucket of what came out of there. So it was a good job we did that. While you're watching this nasty go down the drain, I just want to say that every tank I've ever started, I've been determined to keep up with cleaning so that this doesn't collect, and I've never been successful. I'm really committed to making sure this new system stays clean because this just can't go on. This is what causes problems 18 months in. So these are the Cato corrals. You can see they're made out of egg crate, and my husband made them so that they're not sitting right on the bottom. They have those little legs all around. The sides, the two ends, because they are sharp cuts, have a hose put over them for my protection, because I could totally see myself slashing my arm on that. He also did that on this one, all the way around. So we're gonna put the Catomorpha in there and put those two back in the refugium. So going through and rinsing it, what was clean was really clean, and what was dirty was really gross. I did get the two baskets filled up just nicely. All right, so here is what we put in the baskets after rinsing and cleaning out some bad crap. Check this out. Just took it straight out of the refugium area and put it straight into here, into water. So that's how much crap has come out of here. This is how much I'm not using, because I do need to leave room for this stuff to get flow and to keep growing. All right, we're running again. This is how it looks. Really good flow over here from that little power head. And then there's another power head you can't see over there. And then we have a power head down there that pushes the water around the can. This is all set up again. Much cleaner can. So I'm pretty happy with that. Feels great to have this done. This is the day I started to really notice how fast the cyanobacteria was growing. Although some appeared on the rocks, it was mostly on the sand. I think probably because there was no bacteria to compete with the cyano. The stuff that was on the rocks came and went pretty quickly. The stuff that was on the sand needed special treatment. You might remember from a previous update that I managed to drive my Cybon refractometer into the concrete floor in the basement and break it. So I finally found one at fragbox.ca. This brand isn't carried everywhere because they're a little more expensive than most other brands, but I'm telling you, after years of experience, it's worth every penny. So pleased to have found this, so I treated myself. And I got the results from my ICP tests, one for the display and one for the sump. It turned out there were metals, zinc, aluminum, copper, and tin. So I immediately got some polyfilter and cut a piece up for the canister filter in the display, and I put another piece in the overflow filter in the sump section. I also put a bag of Coopersorb in the canister filter because there were high levels of copper in the display. I'm hoping these will soak up the metals, and I'll do another ICP test down the road to see what the status is. So the gyres are installed, and this is the only time I can show you because when the lights are on, they become invisible against the back of the tank. So right now, just after installation, they're running at 50% just on straight laminar flow. And once I get the percentage correct to where it's not blowing sand around, then I'm going to mess around with pulse modes and other modes like that. And I happened to see this on one of the 20 times a day I come in and look at this tank. Nice to see the cleanup crew hard at work. It's a giant trochus snail and one of my larger blue-legged hermit crabs. A few days later, checking on the Cato, and look at this urchin. I honestly did not think he would climb up and over. Today is a very big day. Nick from Big Al's is coming over, and we are going to be joining the sump to the tank upstairs. Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm very nervous. So we have water being pumped from there over to here. That's step number one. I'm gonna raise this water level by about 35 gallons. So the flow is coming up from downstairs right now. Oh, it's coming over. We are overflowing. So now we have water coming in the tank from downstairs. All right, firing up the pumps again. We had to stop because we were sucking air down here, and stopping allowed the whole system to settle through. We also turned off the pump that's driving the sump system, the Jabo. So all the water settling down. We learned that the strainers had to come off. So we put makeshift covers over the drains. Because there are fish in here. There, and one there. And we learned that this pipe here does not have enough capacity to handle the flow from upstairs because water was coming down through these emergencies when we got back downstairs. So it's flowing upstairs now. I'm gonna go upstairs and see what's going on. Here's what happens when the pumps go off. We're swapping out the nozzles on the random flow generator because there's not enough flow to run the split RFG. So we can't use two of them, unfortunately. Both pumps are running. Here are the controllers on the wall here, and they're only at 50%. And that's enough to balance the system to keep the overflow level where we want it. The water level in here is just about exactly where it was before. Those two white pipes are the intakes for the pumps. These tanks are running roughly 1/4 of an inch higher water level than they were before, but we managed to stop the saber-tooth emergency from overflowing. We had to remove the original pipe, replace it with a shorter pipe, and cover it with a grid. One change we have to make is to the pipes. This pipe here is now the emergency. This pipe is the Durso, and there's a fair amount of water coming out of there. Originally we had it set up so that back pipe was the emergency. We have a bit of work to do here. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie. But so far so good. I am not seeing any effect on the corals, any negative effect from the tank water being mixed with sump water here. Nothing's closed up in horror. Whatever was doing well before still looks fine. So I am not going to start moving stuff upstairs until this is run for a little while. So am I happy? Well, let's just say I can breathe again, and I'll be so happy once this mess is all gone away. Holy smokes, diatoms and cyano. And I honestly did think they had come and gone. I guess I was wrong. Controller cabinets, woo! Look at that. These are nice and tall, lots of capacity. There we go. What's going in here is this mess. So this will all be tidy, all the cords will be managed, you won't see all of this going on down here. They're designed to come out. There's the wing nuts, those come off, and there's enough space to slide the cabinet to the left and pull it off. And look, I have my very, very special cabinet knobs, my triggerfish. February 26th. Look at the cyano today, folks. It is just crazy. This is, it's almost starting to worry me now because I don't know whether it's going to be a problem. Like, look at this. It's obviously still feeding on something. It's become almost like a thick blanket. So, yeah, look at that. Cyano in the morning. So we're gonna fix that. Okay, remember the green machine that I dropped on the floor twice downstairs? We got it running in here and we're gonna test if there's any stray voltage. Okay, there's a reading with nothing in the water. And there's a reading with a probe in the water. So 5.2. Okay, well, obviously the bulb is intact. so I can put this away and use it next time I need it. Okay, the other day when my husband was decanting some water through this pipe out of the upper mixing tank, he got quite a shock. So, stray voltage being on our minds lately, he decided to check these vessels out and just see what the actual readings are. So there it is before the probe goes in. All right, so you drop the probe down into the tank, call it 50. So there are 2 power heads and 1 heater in there. And up here also we have 2 power heads and 1 heater plugged into this power bar here. So we're going to check up top as well. This is the one that actually gave him the big shock. He's going to drop the probe down into the water. I turned the heater so it would go on. We didn't realize the grounding probe had come out, and after putting it back in, we learned the problem was a power head. All right, so the offending power head, which tossed 109 amps of stray voltage, is a really old high door. It's so old, it's the type that used O-rings to clamp the magnet on the base. So we rescued the pair of magnets, because you know there's always 101 uses in the household for a magnet, and yeah, in the garbage with that one. Okay, there's a battle going on. Early days in the aquarium, but we have CYANO, and if you saw my video on the #1 tool to assess flow in your reef tank, you'll see some good close-up shots and a tour of what's going on with the CYANO. So I did some reading, and I'm gonna start a treatment. Every day I'm gonna put liquid bacteria in, starting with the PNS substrate sauce. Half the bottle is gonna go in today, and tomorrow, Dr. Tim's Eco Balance. I think a different bacteria every day might kind of be a good idea to diversify the biome. That seems to be a very popular catchphrase these days. And we're gonna do that for a week. I'm also going to turn off the lights. Nothing in here needs the light at the moment. I did turn them on to encourage whatever was gonna grow to grow. I'm not seeing algae, but I am seeing CYANO. And then thirdly, the advice I found is to add hydrogen peroxide at a rate of 1 ml per 10 gallons. I think I'm gonna go with 60 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide, and I'll just pour it in at night. And we'll see what happens. I'll document it and see what it does for the CYANO in here.
First thing was to turn off the lights and actually unplug them so they wouldn't get turned on accidentally if we forgot or missed a timer. Then we closed the shutters and later on also pulled the curtains in here.
So I'm ready to start the dosing, and I'm going to start with substrate sauce. So I have this variety. I have PNS substrate sauce. I have Dr. Tim's Eco Balance. I have PNS ProBio. I have Fritz 460. I only have a little bit in there. And then I also have Fritz Zyme 9, which apparently is really powerful stuff. Tonight, probably before I start the bubble scrubbing, I am going to dose hydrogen peroxide. It's 3%. So I'm gonna do this kind of treatment for probably a week and see if it makes any difference and see if we can slow this train down. I really do want to get my corals and stuff in here and fish, but I am not going to do it while I'm also having to battle with this. Following the directions, we're going to shake it up, take the lid off. Oh boy, it is smelly. Just want to dump it in. And some on this side. Yep, it's about half the bottle gone. Day 2 of bacteria. We're going to dose the Fritz 460 right into the gyre flow.
What I'm showing you here are the filter floss pads from the green trash can. Originally I had planned only to filter using this type of filter floss. Problem is, it's not enough. That's the back side, and then if I flip it over, this is where the water hits. It drives through so hard, I'm convinced, in fact, I know for a fact, that a lot of the gunk gets right through. I needed another solution. And here's that solution. Giant filter socks, if you will. I had some Coralife filter fabric, 100 micron, a sheet 18 by 30 inches. I bought it a couple of years ago. I forget why, but I thought, what the heck? So I sewed these filter boxes to fit inside the black egg crate basket under the overflow pipes. And I have to say, boy, do they ever work well. Here's one installed in the filter basket. This is the first one I made, and it's a little bit big, so the second two were made smaller. The water comes down into here, and so much stuff is diverted from the green trash can. I really think this is going to make a difference in the long run. And here's the proof. This is that first filter box after only 3 days of use. I've done days worth of hydrogen peroxide dosing, and I've gone to 2 doses per day, and yeah, I'm not seeing progress, growth of the CYANO. It kind of looks like it's stopping. There's still a lot of it around, but compared to last night, it's really not bad. All right, so we got Dr. Tim's Eco Balances, today's bacteria. Some here, pour it in the front in the gyre flow so that it gets pushed through the entire tank as the water flows through. And now for a brief intermission. Please enjoy the results of several months of training my angelfish to eat from my hand. So here we are, March the 2nd, and hard to believe, but with lights out, curtains and shutters closed, we even kept the door closed most of the time, and dosing peroxide, and look at this. It's declined amazingly. I'm just blown away by this. The front of that rock used to be dark red on the sand, and even that is just about faded away. So in my mind, it's only been, I can't even count the days, 4 days maybe, that I've been dosing hydrogen peroxide. And yeah, so I am very, very pleased with this compared to what it looked like a week ago. Like, remember, these rocks were just loaded with streamers. I gotta say, in my experience, it's working. Now, maybe I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself because it's only been a few days and I want this to run under the lights without it coming back. So I'm gonna wait till the sand is white again and turn the lights on and see what happens. So here's today's bacteria, March the 3rd, PNS Probio, purple non-sulfur bacteria. And this whole bottle would not even be enough for 1 recommended dose because the bottle does 400 gallons in a single dose and my system is 600. So because I'm adding a variety of bacteria in small amounts to help combat the CYANO, which, by the way, come on now, you got to admit it's doing something. Along with hydrogen peroxide, right there, 60 mils twice a day. Yeah, so doing these 2 things has really, really helped the CYANO. And because this isn't gonna really do a full dose in my tank, and there's no way I can afford to regularly dose my tank with this stuff, it's like 40 bucks a bottle. I'm going to use it to enhance the bacterial population in here to create variety, basically. The other thing I wanted to show you guys is, look, the sun shining in. Check it out. Now, it's been dark in here because I've had the lights turned off and the curtains closed and the door shut
to help also control the cyano. I think that's also part of it. It's a three-pronged approach. But I wanted to show you this. I used to get these types of hatches in my Red Sea tank at night. Shining a flashlight down from above, this is often what I would see. If I had corals in here, oh man, they would be chowing down. The beauty is though, the system is hooked up, so all of this good stuff is going to end up downstairs. Seeing this, I'm kind of tempted to remove the filter box from the overflow and just let this stuff go into the system, because this is pretty awesome, I think. So, okay, let's get to the bacteria dosing. Ooh, it's stinky. Yep, it's about half a bottle. I've turned the skimmer off and the UV off. We got a nice cloud going on here. March the 4th, check it out. After under a week, look at this. The cyano is just about gone. It's not completely gone. You can see there's some up here. This is pretty amazing. I never would have believed it would work this fast. I'm blown away by this, actually, because I've been desperately wanting to get the corals and stuff in here so that I can move the fish in and get this thing rocking. And the cyano is holding me back. So, of course, the next test will be turning the lights on. I am gonna wait another couple of days and make sure that this has disappeared, because this is kind of the last holdout right in the middle at the front. Hydrogen peroxide for the win. Could also be the bacteria helping things. And of course it's running as a full system now, so whatever's going on here in the water chemistry is also downstairs, and everything looks fantastic. So I have no reason to think there's gonna be a problem, but I'm not gonna move ahead too fast at this point and ruin it all. Today we're putting in Fritz Zyme 9. It's meant to be kind of a starter culture of bacteria for new systems. You can also use it in existing systems, but I'm using it to try and compete with the cyano. This cup is just a cup. The normal dose as recommended for this 600 gallons would be 3 of these bottles. So yeah, no, not happening. And I'm gonna dump it in along the front. Rinse out the cup real good. Okay, she's in.
And look at this birthday present from my daughter. And also thanks to Sustainable Marine for hanging on to this little guy for a week or so until I could get ready for it. It's a captive bred coral beauty angelfish. And we're acclimating. Cute little guy, very active. I'm really looking forward to fattening this little fella up and then getting it into the tank when it puts on some size. Here's some WiseCam video. I set it up to monitor what was going on between these two fish. I didn't want the Royal Grandma to become a bully, and so far it looks like they're friends.
All right, Monday, March the 7th. This is the first day after the cyano treatment started that the lights have been on all day. And so far, not seeing any recurrence. So day 1 of 3 days I'm planning on doing this. And if by Thursday the cyano does not return, we'll be moving corals. This is a momentous moment because the first corals are going to be taken upstairs to the display tank, and the very first one I'm moving is going to be this arch. Okay, here we go. I'm all gloved up. I'm going to pick up the arch underneath. I've already shut the ATO off because there's going to be displacement from this rock that might cause it to deploy. When I put it back in upstairs, the displacement will be rectified. This is just to look it over. There's some vermetids right down here. Oh look, it's a hermit crab. Look at this little guy. I think I'm going to take him upstairs because that's where he's going to end up anyway. So let me just get a cup of water. There.
Next to come out will be one of my favorite corals. I've had this thing for over 5 years. Wait till you see how big it is.
I'm turning it upside down to protect the polyps. We'll get the ones off that we can.
Two more there.
Oh yeah, those are well protected, aren't they? I just really don't want to damage any of the polyps. Oh yeah, that's just one of those strawberry anemones. Scrub that out there. Much as we can. Might not get the whole thing, but alright, I think I've got what I can get. Oh, there's another something right there. Oh, that's one of those little snails. That's pretty good. So we will carry it upstairs. Fox coral. First, corals into the big tank. I have to empty the 100-gallon downstairs where the skimmer is as a priority to catch the fish. Because I have a yellow tang on hold and a Midas blenny, and I'd like to pick those up, and I won't be able to catch the 2 tangs that are in that 100 downstairs unless I get everything out of there. Bubble coral. Looks like a lot of flow. Box coral. Might be getting too much light, but we'll see. I have the freak hair, which I managed to manhandle, drop a couple times, and drop in the sand upside down. So, got a couple of maze brains put in here. Those 2. These are the corals from last night. We have the little symphilia that I'm doing my best to grow out. There's some Pineapple Express zoanthus. We've got a bounce mushroom. Yeah, that thing doesn't know if it wants to live or die, but it's actually looking pretty good today. Here is Season's Greetings Monty. This is the chalice, but it's really bright. My much beloved Scully, which is looking better right now than it has in months. So I'm kind of hoping it might come back. Here's the one I thought was a Scully, but I'm becoming more and more convinced it isn't. I think it's a Trachophilia. And we've got this little Lobo that is very much struggling. There's the Space Invader Pectinia. That one has Kathy's name on it. And my branching Cyphastria. Not looking too promising, but I have a spot picked out. I'm going to mount it on the rocks. Hopefully it'll look better.
And I finally pulled the trigger and got this 110-watt UV sterilizer from TMC/AAP, American Aquarium Products. Thanks, Devin, for all your help. I can hardly wait to get this thing up and running.
Okay, first fish in the tank. Check it out. The lawnmower blenny. By pure luck, he was hiding in one of the corals we pulled out to transfer up here. So, immediately grabbed a container, some water, and brought him upstairs. And he's in the tank. Oh, got lucky on that one. Look at the tummy on that guy. Well, she's pretty much empty. All that's left is to take the skimmer out. Then once this is gone, all that's going to be left in there is going to be 2 tangs. Here's a hitchhiker from downstairs. Already working hard. This guy is probably the biggest red leg I have here now. So I'm gonna have to put in a couple of bigger shells in this area, just in case. So tonight we got the system on bypass. That valve is open, so the water's coming from the 150 directly into here. And that valve is closed, and that valve is closed so that we can empty this out. That's why it was designed this way. So it's been all night, we've been working on this. Pretty soon we'll be done and we can restore the flow through the whole thing.
Please enjoy another short intermission of earlier in the evening when we put the fish into the tank upstairs.
Back in business. It's been running for about a half an hour now. And you can see the water level's dead on there on that black line. We're also dead on here, so now I can turn the ATOs back on because everything's balanced out. Oh yeah, so I think I'm just gonna stand here for a while and enjoy how clean this is, because we all know it ain't gonna last. And how could I forget? Look at this. Remember the rat's nest? Yeah, it is starting to get cleaned up, and I actually have the controllers hanging up. Check it out. Pretty good, eh?
Well, that brings things up to date. If you're still here, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to stick around and see what happens next. Stay safe, everybody.